All In Podcast, the show that explores how the top real estate entrepreneurs have gone all in on their businesses. I'm your host, David Morse, with my co-host, Joe Quattrucci, and I invite you to come along with us as we explore the stories of the most elite professionals in the game today to learn how they went all in and how you and I can do the same. So I just have to ask, are you all in? And we're back, guys. Thank you so much for being back for our episode with Aaron Wilson. Aaron, how are you doing, man?
I am fantastic.
Aaron, thanks so much for joining us today. For anybody who doesn't know, Aaron's been in real estate for 15 years. He started Team Integrity, which is an expansion team, back in 2014. And last year, 2019, he was in the top 15 of all expansion teams within Keller Williams. Aaron, 499 units, is that right?
That, you know what, that is precise. And the reason that's precise is the team had a goal of basically a little bit less than that. And we talked about that. And I kind of challenged them. I said, hey, if you guys hit 500, that's like a pinnacle benchmark, you know? I said, if you hit that, again, I'm down here in Tucson, Arizona, so it'll get there. But we have horchata down here. Horchata is basically a drink, like a cinnamon rice drink. I told him, I said, if we hit 500, I'll get horchata machines for every one of our offices. So that became the driver. They
really would love that.
Machines. Yeah, we fell short of the goal line, so we didn't score the touchdown. So there was no horchata machines, which saved quite a bit. However, the original goal was accomplished, which is basically their goals, which was phenomenal. So,
well, that in and of itself brings up a really good point, which is you mentioned you started kind of with a lower goal, what some might call a realistic goal, and you went back with your team and said, hey guys, let's start thinking a little bit bigger. And even if we were to fall short of a bigger goal, we're still better off than hitting a really small, attainable goal.
That's right. And I think a lot of that boils down to one of the passions that I have is when I'm able to push somebody just beyond the scope of what feels a little bit comfortable, and they are able to accomplish it, that becomes their new goal. That becomes the new benchmark. Maybe they've never thought that they could do something, and that's what drives me. That's a big passion of mine.
That's awesome. I think we'll get into that. Before we get too far though, like how did you get into real estate? Was it always your dream? Like in kindergarten, did you write down on your piece of paper, like, I'm going to have a gigantic real estate team, or like how'd you get into real estate?
No. I didn't understand what corporate world was. I don't even consider this corporate world, to be honest with you. I was in the military for 20 years. I was actually a part of a special operations and search and rescue unit for a good majority of my career. So that being said, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up out of that, to be honest with you. So it was about 3 years prior to retirement. I was dabbling with I bought a property and I was like, I think I want to turn this into a rental whenever I move out of it. And long story short, if I do that, then I'll be in property management. So I literally went down and started taking the course on getting my license. And I noticed on day 3 that I did not want to do property management. That was not something I wanted to do. And I was actually a little bit depressed. I was like, you know what, that's kind of messed up. That's out the window. So I don't know what I want to do, but you know what? I'm going to finish the course because it was like $500. I'll finish it, and I might get a sale because I'm not a salesperson. I'm not, I did not like that word. I don't like the analogy of it. So I ended up going, okay, I'll do it. So I did. I finished it out. I ended up running into an individual and their family. They wanted to buy a property, so we ended up buying they ended up buying the property, and I remember of course, everybody remembers their first sale. So I remember standing in the kitchen of that property. And I remember thinking, you know what? I sure the heck hope I did everything right. I'm just being honest, the training wasn't quite there for me. I don't think I had either that or I didn't grasp it. Okay. That being said, at the same time I'm handing the keys over, I hear his little girl in the back room, go, hey, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Wilson. And I'm like, oh, what the heck? So I go back there, being in Arizona, rattlesnakes, tarantulas, scorpions, etc.
All the fun stuff.
Yes, indeed. So I'm like, oh, what's going on back here? She's twirling like a little ballerina. Okay. So I was like, you know what? I'm kind of a part of this little girl's life, and she doesn't even know it. So she was very proud of her room at the time. And I remember that the feeling that I got at that time was very similar to when we would accomplish a mission. It's that sense of success, I guess, the accomplishment. And I can't relate the two because they're two different extremes. However, the emotion was very similar. And it dawned on me right there, you know what? I can do this. Now, what's my next step? I got to go find another family. That's the solution. So I remember driving home that night. It was about 5 miles from my own house. And I remember on the ride home, it was dark. Man, if I find another family, I'm going to have to find another one and another one and another one. And that's what it turned into, was this domino effect, to where it became very addictive for me to find families to help out, because it satisfied my need from a selfish standpoint, you know.
It was like a dopamine hit.
It was. And I didn't know that at the time. And again, remember, I was still active duty. So I was going on deployments twice a year still, and I needed help. I can't sell homes when I'm over in Afghanistan. So therefore, that being said, the team concept started to come into play. Okay. This is before I formed our team. So I had to find how to do that. So once I retired, though, I knew that's what I was going to do. Once I retired, I knew that failure was not an option. I had to feed my kids, had to, wife, family, this, that, the other. So that was not an option. And that being said, I was all in. Okay. And it wasn't an aggressive standpoint. It's just, I knew that if I helped more people, that I was all in. So started honing the craft there. Basically, the better I got with that, the more fine-tuned I got with that, the more business came in. First year in, I do remember it was 33 transactions the first year, 35 the next
33 your first year.
Yeah, and that was literally by word of mouth. It was referral based. Now I say referral based, but I never did anything with the individuals that were in my unit. Period. I felt that was a conflict of interest. So therefore, I had to search outside. If those people ended up purchasing a home, I would refer it. I would refer it to an individual that was on our team, because I didn't want the liability of that. So that being said, I ended up doing 33, 35, and then it just got to a point to where I needed help. Otherwise, I'm gonna drop the ball on service. That's just that simple. So also, once I retired, there was an extra 10 hours a day. I can do a lot with 10 hours, So that being said, I ran into an individual, and I'm like, hey, I need some help, i.e. showing assistant piece. And from there, I knew that I wanted to help more and more people in that aspect. And that's kind of how I built the team out.
Let me just say, 20 years in special operations, absolutely incredible. So thank you for your service, and thank you for that contribution. That's outstanding. What do you think? Tell us about some of the leadership skills that you developed during that time, some of the life lessons that you learned, and some of the personal growth that took place over those 20 years that helped prepare you for you to inevitably be here as the leader of such a large, successful real estate team.
That's a very good question. What the thing is, though, is I don't think a lot of military members understand how much leadership and management capacity they have until after they get out. It's literally it's not drilled into them. It's just a way of life, and it's kind of forced on the front end to where they start at a young age. When I first joined, literally after a year and a half in and the training was all conducted, I was loading nuclear weapons as a teenager, 19 years old. I look back now and go, man, that's scary.
It's a big responsibility.
Especially if
really
if you knew me back then, that's even scarier. So I'm like, but you go back, but there's a lot of responsibility that is, put on these individuals. So therefore, that's kind of what I took out of it. And then I know that it's my responsibility now to delegate once they know what they're doing at a very high level. So that delegation portion has just been in my blood since day one. But you don't delegate until they know what they're doing at a very high level.
Okay, let's pick up on that a little bit, because delegation is, a perennial problem, right? When I talk to agents, they don't know what to delegate. Joe talks about the difference between like delegating and like true leverage and what that looks like. How do you know what to delegate, and what have you learned about delegation?
Everything. It's a simple word to me. You delegate everything. You trade money for time is what it boils down to. Or you trade time for money. And that's what I did. So I wanted more time. So therefore, with that being said, if I didn't have the time, then what am I going to do? So I literally would, when I delegated out, I gave everything out when I first started because I had the luxury of my retirement. So I literally delegated everything, my entire business. So I know some people can't do that.
So what was your first hire then? You said it was a showing assistant?
No. I did have a showing assistant at the time, but I was on a different team. Okay. That being said, the way that we wanted to go in the directions the way we want to go, one individual wanted to retire and I didn't want to retire. So that being said, I stepped out and kind of formed my own team. So I had an admin. Okay. The admin started picking up all the admin work that I was doing. And then I did hire a showing assistant first thing. So he was my showing assistant on that team. So that was a kind of a first hire with me on the team. However, I turned him from that into a buyer's agent. So I would only do listings. And then from there, I hired a listing agent. So then now it's totally out of the business. So then once I stepped totally out of the business, my job is to basically get them more business. That was it. So we went, go ahead.
I'm going to totally redirect. So if you want to finish that thought, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Okay. So one of the things that I've been fortunate enough to kind of observe over the last few months is the culture within team integrity. I've had the opportunity to kind of be part of some of your leadership calls and meet some of the people on your team and talk to them. And one of the things that I'm most impressed by within your team is the culture that you've built of agents who really truly take responsibility, they're held accountable, and they take action. How do you think that you were able to successfully kind of build that culture? What's your theory or what's your
yeah, I mean,
what's the secret sauce?
What is your principle? Yeah, your leadership theory around culture.
Yeah, it all boils down to a lot of people don't understand this. However, because they have a different perception. When they look at the military, they think of a hierarchy. You got the colonel, and then there's these people. And even if I do this, it shows a hierarchy. However, here's the deal. A bullet's not going to discriminate. It doesn't matter what you have on your sleeve, what you have on your collar, it does not discriminate. So when you're able to do your role in the military, along with somebody doing their role, and then you just compound that with everybody else, the mission gets accomplished. Now, same thing in our business. I am not up here. We're all on the same level. I just have a different role than what the next person does. Same as a buyer agent, same as a showing agent. It doesn't matter. Everybody has their role. If all the individuals are doing their role, then all pistons are firing. If one person drops off, meaning the person to their left or the person to their right, then yeah, you're going to have a hiccup. Things aren't going to work as smooth as they can. So we hold each other accountable. It's not one person holding everybody accountable. That's where the buy-in comes from.
It's really that full team concept. The last thing you just said there, it's not one person, it's the team doing it for each other.
I agree. That's why I like the word team versus group. It's literally a team cohesive concept, everything, even the way the structures are set up, payment structures, everything. So it's cohesive.
When you're talking to somebody, a prospective agent about joining your team, is there a particular kind of person you're looking for? What are some of the red flags you see, or better yet, what are some of the things that you see in people that you say, this person would be a good fit for my organization and our team culture?
It boils down to the culture. It's a long process for us. We literally find out what their motivations are, what their big why is or whys. We figure out and is it in alignment with where we want to go and what we're doing? How are they going to fit into our organization? Not, and this is the mistake that I see some people have made, is not what they can bring to our organization. It's how we can help them. If we can help them, they're going to help us.
I love that. I think we need to make sure that everyone rewinds that back. It's not what they bring to the team in that hiring process. It's how you help them achieve what they want.
And there's a lot of times, David, I'll tell you, there's a lot of times that we talk to people and I don't know if I can offer them what they want. You know what I'm saying? And we're not talking compensation. We're talking about life. It goes beyond what we're doing in real estate. Real estate's just a platform for what we do. That's all.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, it's what do you want to accomplish in life? So we're huge on goals, vision boards. I can walk in the other room here. Every single individual has their vision board up on the wall. If they don't, they're not a part of our organization. It's that simple. So it's literally, I want to be able to go up there and help them cross off something on that vision board. That's the same thing with somebody to my left, whomever it may be, the newest agent, the most senior agent, whatever. They want to help that individual cross something off on that board. And when everybody has stuff crossed off, we've succeeded. Money's just a byproduct. That's all, you know?
Yeah.
So.
That's incredible. It makes me want to join Team Integrity.
It reminds me of the saying, you're better off to turn them down now than to let them down later. It's the same thing we talk about with clients. If I can't truly believe that I can help you reach your personal and professional goals, then let's not get into a partnership from the beginning, because I don't want to let you down in the next month or year or 10 years. Let's figure it out now based on the alignment of our values and our vision. And if it makes sense, then come into our culture and be part of our team.
And that's why I think we talk about mindset so much too, because it does come back to that like we talk to agents about their mindset around helping other people. If you don't believe that you can actually help that person accomplish what it is that they want to accomplish, then you have no business of working with them.
There's two things on that. One is our bubble's got to be bigger than their bubble. Meaning we've got to be thinking a lot bigger than they think, because otherwise if they start thinking bigger than what we are thinking, they're going to leave. We've capped out on opportunity, and they have every right to go elsewhere, for crying out loud. They should, that's one aspect of it. The other piece to it that I think is very critical, that a lot of people say, but they don't really do very well, in my opinion, is accountability. Accountability is not cracking a whip. It's basically putting a mirror up in front of them, in front of their goals. Their actions will result in results. So therefore, you just put the mirror up in front of them. Are they okay with their actions for that day? And we track it daily, almost like a GPS. If we don't track it daily, you're not tracking it enough, because people can slip into a bad habit. So
I was going to ask about, I'm the only person in this conversation that doesn't have military experience, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that cadence is something that you talk about in the military, right? I was going to ask, what's the cadence of that accountability? For you, it's daily?
Yeah, absolutely. And you say cadence, I think of rhythm, and I have no rhythm. Okay, for the sake of this. But no, in all seriousness, you're right. It's daily, because it's almost like, I kind of relate it to like a GPS. If a GPS was only tracking every week, that's 4 times a month. You know how far off I can be midweek?
Right.
So therefore, if we track daily, it gets into the habit of things, we can recorrect or redirect their actions if they're off a little bit. Or, hey, what's going on in their personal life? That's all this boils down to. It's not, cracking the whip. Oh, you need to do X amount of transactions. No. Everybody's goal is different. So we track daily. We track every single morning. We'll have a team huddle. So our team huddle consists of getting onto a Zoom call. We've been using Zoom for about 2 years now, so it's nothing new to us. So we get on the Zoom call. We'll go over our numbers, which is number of contacts they had the day before, number of held contracts written and closed. Here's the beauty of that: we already have that data in our CRM. So the question is, why would we even want to hear it from them? The answer is, we want to make sure that they know what they're doing. Okay. So that being said, we have that form of accountability every day. 2, overdues. And this is a hot topic, because a lot of people wonder, how do you do this? If they're overdue 10 tasks, okay, then basically a lead flow gets cut off. It's just that simple. A lot of people go, whoa, how can you do that? Because the way that we think is, it's almost like if they're in a pool and they're unable to do their task, right? They're drowning. We don't want to add more water into the pool by giving them more tasks. So the majority of people understand that, and they go, hey, I got this coming up. Can you shut my lead flow off? Totally different concept than most people think because they want more and more and more leads.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, one of the things we always hear from agents, especially newer agents, is, well, I want leads. I want leads. I want leads. And what you've basically done is implemented a system where they can earn the right to those leads by doing the tasks first successfully that are going to earn them the right to those leads.
There you go.
And let's just be realistic. If you get behind on your activities, it's not the worst thing in the world. You're not off the team immediately. Let us know. We'll cut off your lead flow to give you time to catch up your own business. And when you're ready, let's get you back into the action.
Well, that's the thing too, is we're prospecting and just marketing enhanced, meaning we go out to get business first, and then marketing is what's going to be the lead flow piece. So that's icing on the cake. If somebody comes onto our team asking about leads, we're having the wrong conversation on the front end. It's probably not going to work. That comes with time as well, and trust it happens. But the thing is that's not a reason to go onto a team, because we're trying to help them build their business within the business. So we have agents that have showing assistants that are on the team. That makes sense. It's a team within a team concept.
I mean, you've just validated what you said. The accountability piece isn't cracking a whip. You've flipped it from being like the turning off of leads, being a pejorative, to being something that's like, we're doing this to rescue you and it's in your best interest. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a new way to think. It's a new perspective to shift your mindset that way. And I think it's really important. New agent, experienced agent, rainmakers running a team, we
don't like to look at it as a punitive piece. Well, fine, we're going to get lead flow. It's not that. That's not the approach at all. It's like, okay, what's going on in their life? What's happening here? Is she okay? Is he okay? Okay, hey, then phone calls. Right away, talking. Let's work some stuff out. What's going on?
So, Aaron, in the fall of last year, as you were working toward those 499 closed units, you did a merger with the Kristen Cole Network, which is the team that I'm proud to be a part of. You obviously were already running a very successful business. What inspired you, or what provoked you to decide to do a merger with the Kristen Cole Network? Why did that happen?
Good question, because you're right. There was a lot of questions on that. Like, why in the world would you do that? I mean, that's just, you can go further and faster when you have the same vision. And what we did is we integrated a lot of our systems together. We complement each other very, very well. And it's not like, hey, let's just go find a team. No, we were never looking for it. And in my opinion, opportunity comes along. And when opportunity comes along and you don't jump on that opportunity, you can miss it. Now, here's the thing. Never would I ever realize that this would ever have happened. But here's the thing. What I do know is where Kristen's going and where we're going as well. We're just on parallels. And by being able to put this together, our highway's a lot wider now. And here's the thing. When people understand how much opportunity it brings to our agents, that's why. Again, you got to have a bigger bubble. So therefore, that's the opportunity it brought to a lot of our agents. The bubble just got even bigger. So they're like, oh my goodness, you know what this has done for us. The relationships within the agents on the team. Joe, you and I typically talk once a week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that opportunity is what I'm getting at. And people don't know what opportunity is until sometimes when it's past them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How do you prepare yourself for opportunity?
I don't know if there's a way to basically go, okay, hey, this is the plan on how to plan for it for when it comes up. But what the analogy that I always look at is, I can't be looking down at the puck. If I'm looking down at the puck, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to get, blindsided with a good check.
Checked into the boards.
Exactly. So therefore, I've got to be looking where the puck needs to go. And by looking out there, I'm able to focus in a different arena. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that being said, that's when opportunity can kind of come along. I know that we'd been talking this last week. I know for those that know Gary Keller, he had mentioned some stuff about this. Like right now, hey, turn some stuff into liquid assets right now, because there's going to be opportunity in about 6 months from now. So if you didn't plan that accordingly, you don't have the opportunity to capture the opportunity at the time. And I think that's So it's kind of sitting back and going, okay, hey, listen, I'm going to lift my head up and I'm going to look out here instead of keeping my head down, being able to be blindsided and not see the opportunity that passes right in front of you.
And this is where it all kind of ties together from the beginning of the conversation. When you're looking down and when you're working in your business, you don't see those opportunities. So what we need to do as leaders is be able to delegate or leverage some of that responsibility so that we as leaders can look up and work on the business and prepare ourselves for those big
Absolutely. I couldn't have said that better. Seriously. And I think in due time, because I'm probably 3 times the age of you guys, I finally figured that out, that, hey, lift the head up, smell the roses here. Because if you know how much opportunity I've probably missed because I had my head down, that's what I don't want other people to miss out on. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. You're right.
If I can help them with that aspect of things, like, hey, lift your head up, dude. Come on. I do that constantly with people too. In other words, they know if I go to them right now, being in business with them for years, if I go to them, hey, I'm going to grab you by the neck. I need you to listen up real quick. They're going to listen up real quick. Okay. They've learned that about me a little bit. But here's the thing. There's some times that where 10, 15 pieces of opportunity may flash in front of me, but I just don't want to grab it though either, because it doesn't fit the direction I want to go. I don't want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. I'll never get out of residential real estate. That's my passion.
Yeah. So on that note of preparation and opportunity, obviously COVID happened, which kind of disrupted all of our businesses. I don't want to make this about COVID, but were you prepared personally, and was your business prepared for this kind of uncertain past few months? And what advice do you give to any business owners out there that are kind of struggling right now because of this, this unexpected thing that happened?
You know what? If you would have asked me that question about 4 months ago, I'd have told you, no, I wasn't prepared. There's no way. Now that I'm looking back now, I can confidently say that we were prepared without even knowing it. Meaning we were already doing some things ahead of the curve. If you would have asked me, probably any of us, hey, you know what? Next month, Vegas is going to shut down. Oh, you're not going to have March Madness. You're not out of, like, what? No way. However, yes, we all know what happened. It shut down the entire world for that matter. So the thing is for me to shift in that, I think what it has done is it has exposed our business to the point to where I'm looking at it now going, man, I'm glad we did what we did previously. I'm glad we put those benchmarks in there. I'm glad we had the accountability. Now what we did is we just doubled down on it. We doubled down on accountability. We doubled down on the amount of lead generation. We doubled down on, looking at our finances. That was the very first thing, speed to action. Let's hit our finances like hard, fast. Right now, we need to cut. I go back to here's the thing. A lot of this stuff isn't what I know. It's what I've learned previously. This isn't my first recession. Now, am I an expert coming into this? Oh, heck no. However, I know that we'll get through it. But if I learn from what I learned before, we'll get through it faster and it'll be a lot easier on all of us. Okay. So that being said, that's kind of the direction that we went. And I'm glad that we have done that because we've had some stellar months in this pandemic, and I literally, even this morning, I was going through a bunch of our stats. Okay, hey, what is it? Why is that? Why did other teams kind of tailor off? What is it that we have done that is great that we're going to continue to do great? What is the new norm now? People want to get back to normal, and I don't know if we're going to get back to normal or if it's going to be a new norm.
Right.
So that's a very good question. And here's the thing: I don't know. I don't know where we're going with it, but I'm always looking at those trends and figuring out, hey, this is where we need to go. Where are the buyers and sellers looking at?
Yeah. So Aaron, let me ask you this. You military, special ops, real estate. I mean, you've had a lot of opportunity to learn in different pathways. And I know that you've experienced huge levels of success. And with success, usually there's stories of failure. What's something that comes to mind along the lines of failure? Where have you experienced failure? What do you have to teach others about failure?
I didn't do it quick enough. I didn't understand how to leverage in my business quick enough. We've had team integrity for 6 years. I've been in real estate for 15. For those first 9 years, I had 1-year careers, or pardon me, 9 1-year careers.
Hmm.
And then what happened was there was an individual that woke me up, and we talk about failures. Is I was just literally doing transactions to do transactions. I didn't know how to piece it together. I had an individual that literally she fell and broke her hip. And my wife was like, you know how long the individual is going to be out? You know how long it's going to take her to recover? And I watched her business go down pretty fast. And I'm like, man, if something happened to me, what would happen to my business? Now, here's the thing. I correlated that. What would happen to my family? Yes, I may have had a couple great years before, but so I started to turn that, man, I need to turn this into a business instead of a practice. So that's when I got purposeful on that. And okay, here's the deal. I go back and I listen to what Gary Keller said. You can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years. And I was like, interesting. Okay. However, I think we overestimate what we can do in 1, and then we underestimate what we can do in 5. And that's so true. When he said that, I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, whatever. But now I hear it again, same words. It's just, it clears the bell to me now. And what I will say this, I don't know what it looks like in 5 years from now, but I'm like, man, that's kind of scary now.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's so important for real estate agents from day one to be surrounding themselves with people who approach real estate as a business and not just as you being a salesperson. So you don't repeat that year one over and over and over. Like, what does it mean to think like a business owner? We already talked about trading time for money or money for time. These are all watershed moments in our thinking as business people that need to occur. And the faster they can occur, even if it means failure, especially if it means failure, the better off the individual is going to be.
Gary had even talked about this too. It's not how often you fail, it's how fast you get back up. And it's painful to fall. However, after a while, you get kind of numb to it. And trust me, I've failed a lot, and it's learning from those failures. And not only that, but I think, anybody that's been in the military understands that when you go through boot camp, you're learning from the mistakes of others. So you don't make the same mistakes,
Yeah, that's right. You're paying real close attention to why he's getting yelled at and why he's doing extra push-ups.
Yep. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Right. So yeah. So in that learning aspect was something that I kind of picked up, and it's okay. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to follow. I think Kristen Cole has said this too. Instead of trying to do what this person up here is doing, they're doing 8,000 transactions a year or whatever. Don't do their actions. Go for the next benchmark. Go for the next rung on the ladder. What is that? If you're doing 20 transactions, you want to get to 40, start looking at what somebody's doing at 30, 35, or 40.
Yeah. It's the concept of it's drafting. So I was a runner, and you pick a person, right? You pick the runner in front of you, and you draft that person. You stay on their shoulder. If I'm consistently running a 5-minute mile, I'm not going to go to the guy who's doing a 4:10. I'm going to find the guy who's doing a 4:50, and I'm going to draft that person. It's the same thing in our business where we need to pick that next benchmark to draft that. And once we accelerate past that person, okay, where's the next thing? Where's the next business that I can emulate, that I can draft to push me to the next level? That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, well, I'll give an example of it. I remember when I first got into the business, okay, this is what you do. Okay, you see that lady over there? You do what she does. And I remember that vividly going, I'm a monkey here. I don't know any better. Okay. So I'm watching her literally and listening because she's in an office. Phone would ring. Oh, hey, so-and-so. And they just kept talking, hang up. Phone would ring, do whatever they're doing. I could hear papers rustling. Phone would ring. And I'm like, the whole time, my phone hasn't rang. So I'm like, well, what? How does she get her phone to ring? So then it dawned on me, it's like, well, if I want my phone to ring, I got to be calling people today in order for them to call me back. So what I think the advice that I should have probably got was, you need to look at what she was doing 10 to 15 years ago, not what she's doing today, because it was too high on that rung. Make sense?
It makes sense.
So therefore, I needed to put myself in the same parallel and surround myself with the people with the same habits that I need to be performing. And I think that's more important than ever, is who you surround yourself with, you know? And we do that with our kids. We don't want our kids hanging out with bad people, you know, because those habits kind of rub off onto them. Same thing in our business, but we'll do it though, won't we? You know?
You touched on something that I want to bring back up, which is when you were new to real estate, you kind of just did what you were told because you didn't have any preconceived notions or ideas of what it was supposed to be. And there's almost a certain benefit to staying in that mindset. David, I've heard you talk about this recently, where we as leaders, with as much as we know, we need to understand we haven't even scratched the surface. And to not get stuck in the rut of believing that we know everything and staying so open-minded and so learning-based that we're exploring what everybody else knows around us and looking for ways to constantly improve our business.
No, absolutely. You know what? I tell newer agents, by the time you learn everything, you're going to have to go back and start all over again and learn it again, because so you're never going to learn everything. You're never going to, that's an infinite game.
Yeah.
So the thing is get that contract down, get the basics down that you need, and you know it at a very high level, and then you can apply it, and then it's going to morph. You're going to be fine. And then, you know, have the systems and models to help you out with those pillars that keep you within the guardrail.
Well, Aaron, we ask every guest the same 3 questions, and I want to jump into that, and I want to ask you these questions. So I'm curious, what is the most impactful business book that you've ever read, or maybe you're currently reading it?
I will tell you that, well, one that I'm reading right now is pretty impactful, but I typically think it's because I'm reading it right now. I always think that way. However, it goes right back to the MREA. I will say that. I was reading that when I was in Afghanistan, and I kept going, oh, this is a good idea. Oh, this is a good idea. And I was with a different company at the time. So once I had heard that we were, you know, swapping over to Keller Williams, I'm like, oh, Keller Williams. Okay, well, that makes sense to me, because the systems and models now I had access to that they were talking about. So to me, it's MREA. I've got it literally sitting right over there, actually right there on my desk. And I literally refer to it constantly.
All right. Question number 2. Who is somebody that you've intentionally surrounded yourself by, either physically in your life or through audio and podcasts? Who's somebody that's really mentored the growth of your business?
I think without knowing it, Gary Keller, obviously. And, you know, I have the opportunity to be in his coaching right now. So that's been a lot more precise. Kristen Cole's another one. Anthony Azar is another individual from a business aspect. Dave Ramsey. Never met the guy, never talked to the guy, nothing. But, you know, I think people don't understand that you can learn from other people with the technology that we have nowadays, and at a totally different level than before. And so I take a lot of those nuggets and kind of combine them into different aspects of the business.
Yeah, and you said a second ago, you know, about who you surround yourself by, and I've said this before, I'll say it again 1,000 times.
Keep saying it
over
and over.
I truly believe that we are the combination of the people we spend our most time with. And something I really just want to make super clear to people is that not only includes the people in your physical world, right? The people that you work with and the people at home. It also includes the information that you're allowing into your brain, the audiobooks, the news you're listening to, the social media you're looking at. And you can either choose to listen and to let things in your brain that are not productive and that are pessimistic and that are harmful to the way that you think and feel, or you can choose to find those people like you just mentioned and let them be your mentors without ever even actually having a conversation with them. Let them talk to you and let them fill your head with things that are going to help move you forward.
I totally agree with that. I don't think that's emphasized enough.
Yeah. So, and you know, just a quick personal story. There's certainly people in my life in the past where I wasn't necessarily going to cut them out of my life. You know, I'm not suggesting that people remove friends or family members or anything like that. But I think that there's something to be said about limiting your time and exposure to those ideas, and really consciously replacing them with something more productive. It can have a real impact on the way that you feel and the way that you ultimately behave in your life. And I think it's just super important to know.
I would agree with that. Definitely. Well, Aaron, so we're all about action on this podcast, pushing the chips all in on your life, your business. And so for our listeners, what is one action that all of us should be taking right now as it pertains to our real estate business?
Show up. That's probably such a broad spectrum. Show up. Wherever you're at, be there. What I mean by that is, Dave, I know you have kids. I've got kids. If you're at their volleyball game, be there. Don't be on your phone. If you're literally, if you're with your wife, be with your wife. Now I get to the business piece. If you're going to lead generate. Focus on it, hyper focus on it. So wherever you're at, be there. And if you're able to combine that with different time blocking methods and be true to your own schedule, do that time blocking, then you know what? You have literally wrote the storybook of your life. If not, and you don't get this stuff down, you're literally letting life control you, and you're basically dealing with the hand that was dealt to you. So you can't complain about that. But everybody has the opportunity to pick their own hand,
I love that advice. Super purposeful. Really love that, Aaron. For the listeners right now, where can they find out more about Aaron Wilson and Team Integrity?
Oh, Tucson, Arizona. TeamIntegrityTucson.com. That's easy. Heck, you come on down here. I got no problem opening the door and showing you exactly what we do and what we don't do. And, but yeah.
Perfect.
Call me. I don't care. That's literally that. Again, that's my passion. If I can help somebody get to whatever level that they want and beyond, and it's within my capacity, I'm going to do it.
Aaron, it's awesome spending some time with you. You are someone who lives and emulates, even the short time I've known you, the name of your business. You're a person of integrity. I know everyone around you says that. And I just appreciate you sharing some of your wisdom with us, our listeners. And I hope you have an awesome day.
You know what? Thank you. The hair on my arm stood up when you said that, because that's a huge compliment. It really is. I think, it goes back to there's 6 pillars of our business that we live by: trust, honesty, respect, integrity, loyalty, and laughter. We implement that in our business, in our personal lives, things will work out totally fine.
Those 6 pillars, every single person can institute that in their business.
It comes out to thrill, THRILL. Hence, that's why we have.
Oh,
acronym. True military man. Another acronym.
There you go.
I love it. Getting the brand in. That's great. That's awesome. Well, dude, have an awesome day. We'll talk with you soon.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Thanks everyone for listening to this episode.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the All In Podcast. We want to invite you to find all of today's resources from our show page at aipodcast.co. We also ask that you take just 1 minute to leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. This is how we grow and how we're able to bring you the best content each and every week. Now go play all in.